carbon fiber flares stitched onto a Denali. GMC just broke its own rulebook. Inside those carbon flares sits a suspension geometry change GMC has never put into factory production on a half-ton truck, and I'm not explaining it yet. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why that decision changes everything for this segment. As for the $88,000 question, my answer depends entirely on whether you're buying this truck to look capable or to actually use every inch of that capability. We're covering the exterior, stepping inside the cabin, then getting into the powertrain numbers that matter. But first, the origin story, because this truck didn't start in a normal product planning meeting. It started somewhere else entirely. Most people are staring at the carbon weave. That's not the point. Underneath it sits a widened suspension mount engineered into the frame, not bolted on afterward. That geometry lets this truck run factory 35-inch tires without the ride height compromises of an aftermarket lift. Competitors solved this with taller lift blocks. GMC solved it by redesigning where the control arms attach. Terrain adaptive ride architecture. Sensors read wheel travel and terrain data 40 times per second, adjusting damping at each corner before the chassis feels the impact. The logic is simple. A fixed-rate suspension guesses, this one measures. It closes the gap between surviving rough terrain and controlling it. Step inside, and the story shifts from engineering to something personal. The seats wear perforated leather with diamond quilt pattern and red stitching GMC usually reserves for Denali Ultimate's top packages. It feels closer to a Cadillac Escalade than a work truck. That's deliberate, not an accident. The rotary drive mode dial sits low on the console, within thumb's reach of the shifter. Correct for switching between pavement and rock crawl without looking down. On a technical trail, that's reacting in time versus reacting late. Ford still buries terrain modes inside a touchscreen menu. Live suspension telemetry display. The center screen shows real-time ride height, damper load, and wheel articulation as it happens. Luxury buyers off-roading occasionally don't want blind faith, they want visual proof. It closes the trust gap between what the truck is doing and what the driver can see. Missed the mark. That red-stitched leather and carbon trims stop at the front row. The second row gets plain black cloth, and Raptor R extends its treatment further back. On an $88,000 truck, that's noticeable. The exterior shows why GMC made these choices. Here's what actually happened. In late 2025, Ford's Raptor R started pulling buyers who wanted trail capability without giving up a luxury cabin. Buyers GMC assumed were locked into Denali for life. The brief wasn't build a nicer Sierra, it was don't lose a single Denali buyer to a truck wearing a blue oval badge. Every decision under that carbon skin traces back to this one meeting. Front bumper. Integrated LED light bar and recessed toe points. Functional for real trail recovery, not decorative. Hood. A carbon fiber intake insert that actually feeds the underhood cooling package, not a sticker. Fenders. Those widened carbon flares house the suspension geometry we already covered, adding roughly 3 inches of track width per side. Wheels. 20-inch forged aluminum wrapped in 35-inch all-terrain rubber, filling the wheel wells with zero gap. Rear. A full-width LED light bar integrated into the tailgate with a hidden GMC lettered brake light underneath it. Stance. This truck sits noticeably higher than standard Denali, and none of it comes from spacer blocks. Load path decisions like frame-integrated suspension mounts hold their value for a decade. Bolt-on styling cues don't. None of that stance matters without something to back it up. Engine. Ecotec 3 6.2-liter V8. 420 horsepower, 460 foot-pounds of torque, 10-speed automatic, 4-wheel drive. Those numbers won't win a drag race against Raptor R, but they'll out-tow it, out-idle it, and outlast it on a job site. Predictive terrain torque split. Using the same suspension sensors from speculative tech number 1, the system preloads torque toward the wheel with the most available grip before slip ever happens. It's the exact gap Ford's Raptor R exposed at launch, when reactive traction control lagged behind loose surface conditions. It eliminates that lag entirely. Ford's Raptor R wins outright horsepower, 720 to this truck's 420. Ram's revived TRX wins outright drama, with a supercharged Hellcat-based V8 pushing near 777. Neither one wins the interior. Engineering case closed. Now the money question. Now here's what I actually think. Completely straightforward. That competitive brief from Ford explains everything. The widened suspension geometry, the terrain torque system, even the red-stitched front seats meant to remind Denali buyers what they'd be giving up elsewhere. Whether GMC actually succeeded depends entirely on what you personally value more, outright power or a cabin you don't have to apologize for. Expect this configuration to land around $88,000. Ford's Raptor R starts near $114,000 for 720 horsepower, and none of this cabin's finish level. Ram's reborn TRX comes in around $102,000, quicker in a straight line, rougher everywhere else. And the standard Sierra Denali, before any of this wide-body hardware, starts closer to $76,000. So you're paying roughly $12,000 for the suspension architecture and the off-road hardware alone. On residual value, factory-engineered chassis changes like widened suspension mounts tend to hold up better at trade-in than bolt-on lift kits and aftermarket flares because dealers and appraisers can verify them against a bill sheet. Plan on a 4 to 5 year hold, and this configuration should retain value more like a mechanical upgrade than a styling package. If you actually plan to use that suspension architecture off-road, this is the smarter buy over a Raptor R. If outright horsepower numbers matter more to you than composure on rough ground, Ford gives you 300 more horsepower for your money. This truck earns its premium through chassis engineering, not bragging rights. Those carbon flares I opened with, they're proof GMC redesigned this truck's skeleton before touching the styling. I'd genuinely love to hear from anyone who's run a Raptor R or a Denali on real trails, not pavement. How did that suspension hold up when things got rough? Next up, this Carbon Elite head-to-head against the Raptor R. Subscribe so you don't miss it. $88,000 for this wide-body Sierra Denali or $114,000 for the Raptor R? Drop your call below.